Welcome to Wake the F Up Sunday Goingfor2 morning show. We have the whole crew here, which makes me extremely happy because that's the least I'll have to say. And then we have G here, who we are I don't even know what that was. I'm pretty sure it's Evan because I didn't
That's party music right there.
Who went to the Raiders game and made it back safely. We are very happy about that.
Yes.
Welcome back, G. Nice to see you. Thank you for joining us in Vegas. That was awesome of you. All right. Starting with Evan, why don't everyone go around and introduce themselves? Evan.
How's it going, guys? Evan Ritter here. You can follow me on Twitter at EV_RITT3 and follow all my content at Goingfor2.com. I got my over-under and betting article out, so that's live over at Goingfor2.com, and happy to be here once again on a beautiful Sunday with you guys.
Yeah, happy to have you. G.
What's up, guys? I'm Gerson McGuire, Fantasy G DFS. I do a DFS show on Friday for the Armchair Fantasy DFS show with Tim and Geoff, and catch me here every weekend. Well, on the Sundays that I wake up.
That's highly overrated, waking up. Ahmed.
Hey, FF Junkie 85 on Twitter, and you can find me on Thursdays, Dynasty Gambit, where we discuss Dynasty impacts on a weekly basis. Also, of course, here I am today to answer starts and sit questions. We already have one on the board.
Yeah, we do. And our long-lost friend, Eric. Glad to have you.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I'm really sad I missed week one. I had all this stuff to say. But you can find me on Twitter at Fantasy Barbecue. I just put up a picture of a pork butt that turned out really nice. Nice pulled pork there. But my buy low, sell high article just dropped, I want to say yesterday, Friday, sometime. I don't know. And then you can catch me Tuesday nights at, 9 p.m. Eastern on my podcast, Fantasy Friends. We're literally just reviewing NFL stuff. Oh, man, let's go. We got all these start-sit questions coming in.
Yeah, we do. And I am GL Tyler. Find me on Twitter at Gladys L. Tyler. Glad to be your hostess this morning. Let's start with T-Bone. Hi, T-Bone Smith. Great name. Mitchell or AB in the flex? All right. Unless, quick note, guys who are sending in start-sit questions, unless you specify otherwise, we're going to assume it's redraft and not DFS you're talking about, okay? Even though we have like two DFS czars. All right, so let's go with Hamed. T-Bone's question, Mitchell or AB in a flex?
So Mitchell expected to get majority of the workload, but last time we heard that about running back, I lost the Lions where Jamal Williams was to get majority of the workload. We all know what happened there where we ended up seeing Swift getting majority of it. But so AB did have a great game against the Cowboys. A lot of that had to do with, of course, Mike Evans did get hurt in that game earlier, but he played through it. If you saw that game, he did grimace a bit, go off the field a few times. I expect both of them to have great games, but believe it or not, I have Mitchell ranked a little lower than most for this week. Mitchell's actually my RB22 this week, so I have AB ranked a little higher than him from a projection standpoint, so give me AB in your flex.
What do you got, G?
I got AB. I want target volume usage, safe floor if I'm playing fantasy. I'm pretty sure we're going to get active Trey Sermon, and everybody knows how I feel about Trey Sermon. I think he's the best running back there. Yeah, I think the biggest reason why Trey Sermon didn't play last week is because he doesn't have skills on special team. And Shanahan, like he said, I don't play for fantasy football. I play to manage a real team. So that's the way he is. And there was a lot of good reports coming out of practices saying Sermon came very aggressive. He looked good. So I feel bad for all those people that spent like 3/4 of their budget on Fab all the way on Elijah Mitchell this week, because when Trey Sermon gets like the majority of the workload, they're going to be fucking butthurted. They're going to be like, what the fuck?
What do you got, Eric? Mitchell or AB in the flex?
So Gerson got it right before I could say it. It's like, if you spent like $60-some of your Fab, it's going to be really hard not to start Elijah Mitchell there. But I just don't trust Kyle Shanahan at all to tell us the truth or do the right thing. It could be, whoever. It could be the fifth guy on the depth chart for all we know. So I'll go AB just for that safe floor. They're playing the Falcons as well. He's a very exploitable secondary, so he should see kind of a similar usage as he did against Dallas.
And our Dallas man, what do you have?
Yeah, Eric pretty much hit on what I would say. I mean, that secondary is, like you said, easily exploitable, and we know that Tom Brady loves to target AB. He's a big play threat, and against that Falcons defense, I think he's going to eat. Once again, if you spent money on Eli Mitchell, I know you're dying to start him, but for me personally, I think hopefully you should have some better options as well. So maybe you could take the wait and see approach one more week, and with knowing that Trey Sermon's going to be active, and kind of see how much Trey Sermon bites into his workload. So for me, I'm going to go ahead and start AB just because I think he has the safer floor and, high upside in that Tampa Bay offense against the exploitable defense like the Falcons.
Hey, guys, can I add one more point to that?
Yeah, of course.
AB last year in 2 games against the Falcons, here are his numbers. 60 receptions, 231 yards, and 3 touchdowns. I would comfortably start AB this week.
Yeah.
All right, T-Bone, there you go. You got AB in your flex. What's up, Alex Pickus? How are you? Daniel wants to know, Tim Patrick or Boyd as a flex? Let's start with you, Evan.
Yeah, this is a good one. But I think for me, with Judy going down, I think, Tim Patrick is going to step up and have, once again, a solid floor. I think KJ Hamler is going to be the big play threat in that offense, but I think Tim Patrick is going to kind of be when he's not looking to Cortland Sutton. I think Bridgewater is going to, look to Tim Patrick for kind of that, security as a security blanket, and I think he's going to see a good amount of targets. We saw Burrow really look for Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, to start week 1. I think kind of, to start the season, Boyd is kind of the odd man out there. So I think Tim Patrick with the Judy injury has a better chance to, give you a better floor this week.
What do you got, Eric?
So I'll disagree with my Cowboy man here, but I actually like Tyler Boyd a little better. I think it's a game script issue for me. The Broncos shouldn't have to throw the ball barely at all against this terrible, terrible Jacksonville Jaguars team. And I think just Tyler Boyd's going to enjoy a more favorable game script. And I think he has a little bit of a higher floor because I believe the target share is going to go Sutton, KJ Hamler, maybe even Melvin Gordon, Javonte Williams. So I'll say that slightly Tyler Boyd above.
What do you got, G?
I got Tyler Boyd. I go for the better quarterback, the better offense, the better environment. Definitely going to go there. A lot of people love Tim Patrick, but I think KJ Hamler is going to have something to say about the usage. I think KJ Hamler, he hasn't broken out yet, but he's going to break out sooner or later. I think he's a good wide receiver that like kind of like an Emmanuel Sanders early in his career that he didn't break out till later. But I mean, I think I always go for upside at the wide receiver position, so I'm gonna go with Boyd.
And H. Hamid, what do you have?
Right, so I'm gonna have to. I understand the Boyd logic. He did run 27 routes, but he only had 4 targets off of 27 routes. So the volume, the passing volume is there, but the targets did not translate last week. Now, of course, going into this week, that uncertainty is enough for me to drop Boyd. I think this is going to be really close. Tim Patrick last week played 65.2% of the snaps and ran 24 routes. Now, yes, similarly to Boyd, he did have only 4 receptions that game, but he did have a touchdown as well. The yardage usage wasn't that high. He had only 39 yards. He does face Shaquille Griffin this week, who's actually a pretty good corner for the Jaguars. So that's a little concerning for me, but just given the fact that he is I do know for sure he's at least going to get more. I think he out-targets Boyd week 2. And because of that, I'm going to have to go with Tim Patrick. And plus, we've seen it last year from Tim Patrick. As the wide receiver 2, he's actually performed very, very well.
I have a quick question on that one. Do you know if this is for either Eric or Hamid, if Christensen's still going to play slot corner for Chicago after he got torched last? Because that would be the only reason I would play Boyd, because he got torched last week playing the slot corner. So, and that would mean I would feed Boyd all day long. But if they've taken him out, do either of you know if he's starting?
I don't.
I'm not
I have
sure.
no idea.
Yeah. What great advice we were giving here.
Well, no, I mean, I would look and see if Marquis Christensen is playing slot corner for Chicago. If he is, I would play Boyd because he had like 2 touchdowns and 85 yards on him last week, alone by himself. So if they still have him in, Matt Nagy probably will, since he doesn't have Justin Fields in. I would go with that. All right, before we lose G, let's talk some DFS while we have a few minutes.
So for DFS this week, if you haven't really dug into it, it's probably one of the most exciting slates I've seen in probably like a year or so. I mean, we have 5 games over 50. I mean, it's pretty ridiculous, and a couple of them are touching the 55. So I'm pretty excited for it. But my quarterbacks are going to be, number 1 is going to be Justin Herbert. Number 2 is going to be Dak Prescott. Number 3 is Tom Brady. 4 is Jalen Hurts. And then Josh Allen and Russell Wilson to wind it out. But in reality, you can't go wrong with those. And there's a guy I'm looking at for a GPP, like kind of like really deep contrarian play. And that's Joe Burrow versus Chicago. And a lot of people are probably wondering, what about Kyler Murray? I like Kyler Murray, but I don't like his game environment so much as the other one. So really, there's really about 8 quarterbacks you can play, but I can't play all of them. If you play all of them, you're kind of just scattering all your lineups everywhere. Running back, to me, there's 3 guys that really stand out. Obviously, Christian McCaffrey's up at the top, but the 3 guys I'm really looking at are Najee Harris, Nick Chubb, and Ezekiel Elliott. Those will be my 3 core plays for running back. I also like excuse me, what's his name? Javonte Williams as a value play. He got 14 touches he got 15 touches, I guess, if you do the reception. But in this game with the Jacksonville Jaguars, I can see Javonte actually breaking one and getting a touchdown or so. I know Melvin Gordon's still a thing, but they're just going to run the ball once they start blowing them out. While the Jaguars did okay versus what's their name? The Texans. The Cowboys aren't the Texans. They have a good defense. They have a pretty solid line, and they can move the ball a lot better. Well, the Texans move the ball pretty damn well on them, too. So, I like Javonte Williams at 4,000. I love Joe Mixon this week for Chicago. We're seeing it, and people, you better catch on to it really quick before you see it. Joe Mixon is the guy there now. He's going to get the full workload. He's going to get all the volume. He got 29 attempts last week. Well, his yards per carry were at 4.4. I mean, he got 4 receptions. That's what I'm looking at. That's something we always wanted Joe Mixon to do, right? Get reception. So I love Joe Mixon. But those are my kind of like my core running back. Let's see. Yeah, Christian McCaffrey. Alvin Kamara is in play too, obviously. Chris Carson. Those guys are guys. But I'm going really, really tight on the core of Nick Chubb, Ezekiel Elliott, and Najee Harris.
Hey, G, how do you feel about David Montgomery?
I like Monty. I think Monty, very underrated play week in and week out. I think people have this skeptic of Montgomery being just a boring football player. I don't give a shit if you're boring or exciting as long as you get me points, you know what I mean? Like, frick. I can't tell you how many times I played Peyton Manning, and I didn't consider him an exciting player out there, but he was great. I mean, I don't know. Like, to me, I hate this whole narrative of, oh, well, Monty's not flashy. I'm like, dude, who cares? Wide receiver.
Hey, G, quickly before you go to wide receiver, Corey Johnson wants to know Darrell Henderson or Melvin Gordon since you're on running backs.
Probably Darrell Henderson because he'll get most of the workload over what's his name, Tony Michelle. Melvin Gordon's sharing that workload. There's not really it's just a split. But the thing is, in this game, I think they're going to make it a statement. You drafted what's his name, Javonte Williams, to be your best running back, and you gave him 16 touches in the first game. You're going to give him more in the second game. But I definitely go Darrell Henderson.
Does everyone agree or no?
Yeah, I agree. That's my brother, by the way. Thanks for the question, bro.
Yep, same here.
Hi, Corey. All right, G, I'm sorry. Wide receivers, DFS. And go.
Someone asked that question. I see it. It says Facebook user of mine. I don't see it, but it says Najee over Damian Harris. Yes, yeah. Easily. Chase Edmond, Robbie Anderson in my flex, full PPR. I definitely go Chase Edmond. I'm out on Robbie Anderson this year. Terrence Marshall Jr. is real.
Year? Did you say this year? Like the whole year? You're out on him the whole year?
You said this week. I agree with you, but this year?
Yeah, I'm out on him this year. Like I don't want to play a wide receiver that boom or bust. I mean, you gotta get Terrence Marshall is the real deal. I mean, he got 6 targets last week. Robbie Anderson's not going to be that guy that only gets like those long passes now. Like I've never been a Robbie Anderson guy. I've never really played him in fantasy football. I played him in DFS, but in fantasy football, I'm not starting him. I'd rather look elsewhere. People get excited about his big game, but I'm one of those people. I'd rather play the guys that are going to get a lot of volume.
Okay.
Wide receiver is pretty simple. Kind of all the quarterbacks I named, you want to play those wide receivers. Like for Justin Herbert, it's going to be Mike Williams and what's his name? Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen is the smash play of the week. He's the number 1 wide receiver for me. Mike Williams is playing in a new offense for him. Like basically, they scheme him out really differently this year. He's not doing what he used to do last year. I mean, he's still doing what he did last year, where he exaggerated to jump for a ball and then falls down and hits himself. But I mean, he's actually getting a lot more. He's going to get a lot more workload this year. Dak Prescott, any of the wide receivers there. Russell Wilson, any of his wide receivers. But really, the wide receivers that I'm going to be heavily owned on that are not stacked with my quarterback are going to be Cooper Kupp. Hold on, I just had my bug it out. Cooper Kupp, Cedric Wilson for the Cowboys is a value play. He's probably the top value play for wide receiver. Jalen Waddle, Jalen Reagor, Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, Stephon Diggs, and all the wide receivers for Tampa Bay. Tyler Lockett, but obviously all those wide receivers you're going to target that. But I always tell people at wide receiver you're mostly going to stack, and if you're not stacking, you got to have a one-off. So my favorite one-off are obviously Cooper Kupp. Hold on, let me pull up my ownership real quick. Oh, rostership, sorry. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. Let's see who else I have here. Yeah, those are the main guys that I'm. Oh, yeah, Deontay Johnson versus the Raiders. I just hope he doesn't get hurt. He always magically gets hurt every game. But those are the main guys. Very target those heavy Vegas games. Those games that are really high scoring. Those wide receivers are going to be at the top. At tight end, dude, like tight end to me is like very straightforward. It's George Kittle, Darren Waller, Tyler Higbee, and then the rest of them are kind of like, okay, we'll sprinkle them. I like Kyle Pitts. I like Dallas Goedert. Some Gronk. I really do like Noah Fant, though. But my value plays are going to be, I can't pronounce his name, so I'm going to butcher it. I don't really care because I don't get paid to pronounce people's names. I just get paid to play them. James O'Shaughnessy. Is that how you say it? James O'Shaughnessy?
O'Shaughnessy, yeah.
Yeah, him at 2,700. And Adam Troutman, I'm going to die on that hill. I've counted Trout for since he came to the NFL. And if I die on it, I die on it. But those guys are the main plays. But I think the most popular plays are obviously going to be Darren Waller, Tyler Higbee, and George Kittle. Defense, you guys know me in defense. I don't pay up for it. But I think this week there is a good defense to pay up for. It's the Steelers defense versus the Raiders. The Buccaneers versus Atlanta. I think, and like Jeff Lambert said, I think Matt Ryan is washed. I just think Matt Ryan is old. I don't know about washed. He's just old now, you know.
Isn't it the same thing, kind of, sort of?
Yeah, but people say Tom Brady was washed, and he came back the next season and threw for 38 touchdowns. So, you know, I don't know how to say it. I mean, it's weird, that term. Top defense, the own Steelers defense, Browns defense, Cardinals defense, the Jets defense for value at 2,200. I like the Vikings defense at 2,100 versus the Cardinals. While Kyler Murray is amazing, that offense does get turnover every now and then. But those are my top defense. But that's it for this week in DFS. I mean, I think this week is pretty straightforward. You play the top Vegas game because those are going to be the ones that are going to score some. I'm telling you, Dallas Cowboys. I mean, even right now, Evan came and say shit because he can't defend himself, just like the Cowboys. They don't have a defense, you know.
Speaking to that game though, G, with the Gallup injury, I got Dalton Schultz at only 2.4% ownership right now, and at only 3,300, I think he's kind of a sneaky play to find the end zone with the high scoring matchup. So yeah, speaking to the tight end position, and a little lower owned play. If you're not going to pay up at the position, like I know a lot of people's roster structures, sometimes they won't pay up at tight end and they'll try to kind of just punt the position. If you are punting that position, I think Dalton Schultz is a good place to look at lower ownership, a low salary, and with Gallup out, there's some vacated targets there. So in a high scoring matchup, you could find the end zone.
Yeah, speaking of tight ends, Daniel Howland, who has a really great picture of his dog. I'm hoping that his dog. He said he's in a bind in tight end. He has Gesicki and Freiermuth, who I actually like. And all that's on waivers is Coughlin, Njoku, O'Shaughnessy, Ebron, Jarwin. So would you play? Well, I wouldn't play Gesicki no matter what. But so the other one is a rookie, or would you try to go pick up one of these other guys on waivers?
As gross as it sounds, and I hate Mike Gesicki, but out of all those guys, he's probably going to be the one that's going to get the most target. And I hate Mike Gesicki. Like, I hate him. Like, I would never play him.
Wow.
But no.
How many times is he going to say hate? My God. What do you
don't like him,
man?
Hey, last week I said, I think I said it on
You said Everett over Gesicki, and I said Gesicki over Everett.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Oh, man.
No, I would not. Gesicki. He had like the least amount of targets out of all the tight ends on that team last week.
Yes, Smythe actually played a lot.
Yeah.
He what? Okay.
Durham Smythe played a lot, is what I'm saying. He actually played a lot more than Gesicki.
Yeah. So, I mean, Njoku probably. I don't know. What's the over under that?
Let's help him out. Let's help him out. Everybody, let's just say one guy that's not named Gesicki. Okay.
I kind of like G's take on O'Shaughnessy, honestly.
Yeah, I like O'Shaughnessy, so I'm gonna go with him.
Okay. How many did you say?
I'm going with Njoku. Odell is not playing, and I think even though I think the Browns will win comfortably, I do think Njoku will do pretty well this game.
Eric?
Something like a 3 for 4 touchdown.
Eric, what do you got?
I want to get in on this 55-point over/under, so I'm going to take Blake Jarwin and just hope for a touchdown because he's running routes up the seam. So I mean, all these guys are dart throw.
Yeah.
So who would? I guess I'm guessing he has to drop one of those if he's picking one of those up on waivers. Who would you drop?
I've already dropped Gesicki in most leagues.
Get him out of my life. Gesicki, deuces, my man.
He's out.
To be honest, if you ever deal with a situation like this, you should have been doing a trade or something before the tweet.
You try trading, no luck.
Yeah, no luck.
At it. No one wants to trade. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, buddy.
I'm in 2 leagues like that where no one wants to trade. No matter what, I literally talked to every owner on the team. Nobody wants to trade. It's pretty.
I've seen the way you trade. It's not fun. No, this is what I want. If you don't give it to me, no. Damn, Hamid.
All right, G, before you go, because you have 5 minutes before you have to go and put in your 2042 lineups for DFS.
That's not an exaggeration, by the way. G,
no, it's not. It's exactly. Who is your love them and leave them for DFS this week? The one player that you want to have the most ownership in, and the one player you're fading for the most.
The player I'm going to have the most ownership on is Zeke. He's 6,200 on DraftKings. The lowest he's been in his 72 games that he played in his career priced at. That includes his rookie year. The player that I don't want is Cortland Sutton. I don't know if you guys saw the video of him running a route or running practice, but the guy was fucking limping, and it didn't look good. And I thought it was an old video. No, it was his practice this week. Yeah. And I was like, why the hell would I play a guy that's limping? I mean, I look better running out there. I'm fast, so, But those are the 2 guys that I love and hate.
And do you have any passing words of wisdom Oh, Facebook user says you're going to play Zeke more than Allen.
Oh, they're about the same. I have them both at 50% exposure. They're both my top plays. If I had to pick the two top plays this week, is Zeke and Keenan Allen. Yeah, those are the two guys I'm really targeting high. I think everybody's just gonna want to play the passing game there, but I want to go a little contrarian, and if I have to, I'm gonna go with Zeke, and he's cheap. It's crazy how cheap he is, and I expect him. His ownership is supposed to be like at 12%. I expect when it comes to all said and done and locked in the rosters and everything, he's gonna be like 18.
Zeke?
Yeah, because of his price.
Oh, okay. All right. Any parting words of wisdom for DFS players for this week?
No, just enjoy okay, here it is. If you are winning top roster and you're in the Millie Maker or GPP and you're in first place in the 1 o'clock game, or what? The 1 o'clock game, guys? In the 1 o'clock game. Sorry to burst your bubble, but that shit's gonna go down because all the 4 games that are really exciting during the afternoon game. They're gonna be all GPP play right there. I mean, unless one game blows out 55-55 and you have a morning game, then cool. But I'm telling you right now, don't count your Don't count your dollars. Don't count your dollars. Wait till the end of the day. That's why I'm gonna go take a nap. I wake up at 4 a.m, guys, so I take a nap. Yes, I'm that guy. But yeah. All right, guys. Take care. Thanks for everybody. Glad to have you, Eric. And by the way, Eric, I'm gonna hit you up because I do a lot of smoking too. I smoke a lot of barbecue food, pork butt, rib, brisket, the whole brisket, not just the flat.
Okay.
Everything. I do it all, man. With my brother, we do it like almost every other Sunday. Evan, good to see you back. I hope your Cowboys don't play for shit on defense. And Hamid, much love like always, man. Gladys, likewise.
All right, G.
Nice seeing G. Good luck today.
Peace. Thank you.
All right, guys. We're going to go back a little bit. Hi, Shane and Hamid. Do you and Shane have something going on? What's happening there? I don't want to know. I don't know why I asked. Chase Edmonds or Robbie Anderson as flex week did. Everyone answered, but everyone didn't answer Najee over Damian Harris. So, Hamid, did you agree with G? Najee over Damian Harris?
So Najee, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, was the only running back last week to have 100% of the snap share of his team. Yes. I don't see that changing this week, and not only that, but the matchup is significantly easier. Given that he's going to be on the field 100%, I mean, first of all, it's a no-brainer starting Najee. I love Damian Harris's matchup. I'm actually starting him in one of my DFS lineups as well against the Jets, in which the Patriots should win easily, in my opinion. So I can easily see them both finishing close to each other, but give me Najee in that 100% opportunity share.
What do you got, Eric?
Yeah, I agree with Hamid. So he's going to have more opportunities, in my opinion, because Damian Harris might be in the doghouse from what we've seen because he fumbled. Who knows? Bill Belichick's another like Kyle Shanahan person. I just don't trust him at all with running back. The matchup is a wash. I think they both have a really good matchup. And then who's more talented? Najee Harris is more talented. So I'll go with Najee Harris pretty easily on this one.
Yeah, I think Najee definitely is going to outperform Damian Harris. I don't really think there's any question about that. Like they said, the matchups are kind of similar. But looking at, if we're talking season long, I'm definitely starting Najee. If we're looking at DFS, Najee is going to be the higher owned play. And based on roster construction, I don't think Damian Harris is a bad pivot. He's a lot cheaper. He's only at 5,400. He's going to have less ownership, and maybe you go down to the lower owned and the lesser salary to go up at another position, maybe, put in one of these more stud quarterbacks or stud receivers, especially if you think Damian Harris is going to, have a good game, which I think he is. I think Najee's going to outproduce him, but it might not be by much,
Okay. Hamid, real quick, your offensive, love them and leave them this week.
Sure. All right. So it's funny that my love of the week happens to be the guy I just spoke about. Actually, it's It's actually Damian Harris. He had 23 carries last week in week 1. He had 100 yards, so it wasn't the most efficient game. I mean, he didn't have any breakaway chunk yardage, but it was a good game though. The volume was there, and even though he only played 53% of the offensive snaps, he was on the field for about half the game, and he still had 20. But he's getting the touches, 23 carries, and 100 yards. We would love to see a touchdown there. I do expect he will get that this week. And also, he did have some receptions. He had 2 receptions as well. So there's a little bit of usage in the passing game. But overall, I have Darrell Henderson ranked inside my top 15 amongst running backs this week. My hate of the week, unfortunately, I've been down on him all year, actually. But I'm going to say this week for sure. Jonathan Taylor. Only 2 teams allowed fewer yards per game on the ground than the Rams. And only 3 teams allowed fewer touchdowns than the Rams last year. That's to the running back position. So this is a very, very bad matchup. Not only that, but keep in mind, Paris Campbell and I'm drawing a blank on the 2 wide receivers for the Colts are not going to be 100% even if they do play. They're both game time decisions, but they're expected to play.
Or Michael Pittman, which one?
It's both. Michael Pittman, thank you for that. It's Michael Pittman. Yeah, Michael Pittman and
Zach Pascal.
No, Zach Pascal. I don't know why.
Paris Campbell. It's Paris Campbell.
Michael Strahan.
Michael Pittman and Paris Campbell. Both of them are expected to play, but both of them were questionable coming into this week and were limited in practice. So, given that, Jonathan Taylor would be on my hate list only because the Rams, the defense he is facing. Not only that, I think this is a game that Hines gets a lot more usage than last week because I expect the Colts to be playing from behind significantly here. It would not surprise me that if the Rams cover the spread, which I think is 6.5 or 4.5, quite comfortably.
Yeah, the Rams are favored by 4, 48 over and under.
I think they cover that by more than a touchdown. It would not surprise me.
Wow.
Also, Denzel Mims is actually inactive. He is a healthy scratch, and is also out.
Okay, you broke up on both of those, so one more time.
Denzel
Mims is out.
Jamison Crowder is Jamison Crowder is also out as well. Mims is a healthy scratch. Marshawn Lattimore for the Saints is inactive as well, which is a little surprising, but he is also inactive. Which I think does help, Robbie Anderson. I think that's a great news for Robbie Anderson owners.
Speaking of defense, Mr. Eric, who is your IDP love him and leave him for the week?
So my love him, and me and Evan are going to be upset about this one, but it's Joey Bosa. We lost La'el Collins to I think it looks like a 5-game suspension due to some missed drug tests. So Joey Bosa is going to eat. The right tackle is Terrence Steele. He's an undrafted free agent from 2020. He was second in sacks allowed in 2020 and tied for 13th for penalties. So it's not looking great. Gerson was talking earlier about Zeke. I worry a little bit. He's going to be in there having to pass protect a lot more, I think, than kind of how it was with the Tampa Bay game. And that's actually I do like Dalton Schultz a lot too, because I think they're going to play a lot more 12 personnel, put it that way, to kind of help out on the right side. Oh, and then the leave him. The leave him from that same game. I guess I'm just biased or something, but it's Micah Parsons. He's going to be blitzing a ton. We lost DeMarcus Lawrence to an injury, Randy Gregory to I think a suspension, or not a suspension. He's on the COVID list. So he's going to be rushing the passer quite a bit. I don't like that because that takes away his tackle floor to me. So, yes, he might get a couple sacks, which will help you out. But if you're dependent on him for 10, 12 tackles, it worries me a tad because he's not going to be playing that traditional linebacker role. But he's a very good pass rusher. I think he had the second most pass rushes among linebackers last week, and then he was the second highest graded pass rusher among linebackers according to PFF. So he does a great job at that, but I just think his floor is not going to be as high as we'd like to see it.
Okay, cool.
Real quick, Micah Parsons is moving to the defensive end position this week, and not only that, we have another inactive. Paris Campbell, as I just mentioned, is inactive.
Wait, okay. So who is playing on the Colts offensive? Who do the Colts have?
So they do have Pascal active, and as of right now, if Paris Campbell's out, I've not heard anything about the other wide receiver. Yeah, I haven't heard anything about Pittman just yet, but so far They have Pittman and Pascal, barring any Pittman news that comes out, and of course the running back. I think this is a game where Hines get used significantly. He's not a bad DFS option as well if you do plan to play him.
It's Jack Doyle season now.
we still talk about Jack Doyle, man.
Sure. So, Evan, your prop bet, your love them and leave them prop bet, that's what you had, yeah?
Yeah. So let me get to them real quick. So prop bets, I have 3. I want to start by saying we cashed on that plus 290 Tyson Williams anytime touchdown last week, so that was good.
Nice. Very good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But the 3 I like are going to be, I think the Browns are going to run the ball heavy. I mean, starting, on a tough loss, going 0-1, I think they're going to do whatever they can to just chew up clock, get out of there with a win. So I don't think they're going to press the issue in the passing game too much. I think they're just going to feed it to the best duo of running backs in the league and just eat up clock, get out of there with the W. So I also like the under on that game. But, yeah, it's going to be Nick Chubb over 17.5 carries at -120. He's on the field for 53% of the snaps in week 1. So I expect that to continue in week 2 with the Browns, poised for a run-heavy approach. Against Houston last year, he ran for 126 yards on 19 carries. And the Browns as a team ran the ball 41 times against Houston. It was a windy game, they only won it 10-7. But still, I think they're going to continue that approach. So, yeah, Nick Chubb over 17.5 carries. This one, everyone may not agree with, but I think Urban Meyer is going to figure it out and figure out that he has James Robinson on his freaking team, and he's going to hand him the ball. They bet the prop bet's only at over 9.5 carries. The man should see more than 9.5 carries. In week 1, I mean, he only ended up seeing 5 carries, I know, but he still was on the field 64% of the Jaguars' offensive snaps. I think that's helping keeping this prop bet down for week 2 is the fact that we saw Carlos Hyde get involved as much as he did and actually see more carries than Robinson. So I think there's a little bit of value on this bet. So I hope Urban Meyer figures it out and gives James Robinson the ball this week. And then the last one I love is Devontae Smith over 3.5 receptions. I freaking love this one. I mean, he established himself right away last week as the clear-cut number 1 receiver in the offense. He finished with 8 targets, hauling in 6 of them for 71 yards. The 49ers defense is actually kind of beat up, and they just lost their top cornerback to a ACL injury. So I look for Smith to easily go over this number of 3.5, and I'm going to keep pounding his, prop bets, his reception prop bets until the market catches up and actually gives the rookie some respect. So yeah, those are the ones I love. I haven't really got into, too many that I hate, so far. So yeah, I just gave you 3 that I love this week.
Is there such a thing as hating a prop bet?
Yeah, right.
Also, Preston Williams, real quick, another active. Preston Williams is active. He'll be making his debut today.
I just have a quick question for Evan on the prop bets for Robinson. You're not worried about them going against the front 7 of Denver?
It's not that I'm not worried. I just think that they are going to, attempt to kind of try to establish that run game. I mean, they let the rookie just, what did he throw it 50 times last week? I don't think that's the approach you want. I think you have to try to establish a more balanced approach and try to keep, establish the run, even if it is early this week. With it only being at 9.5, I think he can at least get to somewhere around 12 touches at the very least.
So you think that Urban Meyer is that coach that listens to what other people says and
not at all
and goes the way. Like I personally think he's going to have Trevor Lawrence just try to air it out again, 50 plus. Is there a prop bet on Lawrence? How many throws over and under?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I don't know exactly what that is off the top of my head, but I'm sure I could figure it out. But I'm
taking over whatever it is.
Are you?
Yeah, I don't care. I think I did. I think I did take over, yeah, because I just don't think Urban Meyer really, I don't think he's going to figure it out. So on your DFS plays, do you have the top ownerships for, like the top 3 ownerships for the quarterback, running back, and wide receiver, tight ends?
Oh, that I got all day. Give me,
Oh,
give me 1 sec.
A quick aside: Trevor Lawrence's over under is 34.5 pass attempts.
There we go.
Friggin' yeah.
Smash.
Yeah,
Wait,
you taking that?
Can you repeat that?
His over under for pass attempts, Trevor Lawrence, is 34.5. That seems
Come
really
on.
low. That
I
seems
think
really low.
That's low.
I'm
Last
putting a prop bet on this right now.
There you go.
right now. He's showing it. Hey, guys, show it right now.
Yeah, I mean, I knew right when I touted that prop bet, everyone was gonna be like, "What?" I just really think, man, like the 9.5. I think from the week one, the game flow and how it kept it down. I think that's why we're getting 9.5. It's not a lot of rush attempts, and I think if he doesn't get it, I'm gonna go crazy because I just will not understand. I get that the Broncos defensive front, but the Broncos D is good as a whole, so
Yeah.
I just think he needs to try to establish that run game and not put it all on the rookie's back right away. Okay, top ownerships at quarterback. No surprise here. Dak Prescott, Justin Herbert. Dak Prescott at 13.4%. And Justin Herbert at 11.1%, followed by Tom Brady at 9%. So yeah, kind of no surprise there. I knew from the gate that Chargers Cowboys game was going to be one to target in DFS. Whenever you have a point total that high, and what is going to be a freaking just offensive fest, and a total at 55, we're going to get some ownership. Going to running back. It's going to be Chris Carson leading the way at 18.3%. And I think that has a lot to do with how Tennessee played last week, the Rashad Penny injury, and then his salary is only at $6,100.
Oh, okay.
So, and then followed by Najee Harris at 16.1%. And then Nick Chubb, who everyone is loving this week, is at 13.7%. Which I will have a lot of Nick Chubb in lineups.
Do you have any Hunt? Do you have any Kareem Hunt?
I do. Yeah. So I think there's two good pivots at running back. Is going down to Kareem Hunt because he is only at 2.8% ownership.
Ooh.
So I think that's a really good pivot to get some leverage on the field because I think that man's going to eat as well. And then I obviously love the Broncos running backs. And then the other pivot that I'm going to, take a little shot on, it's not really a pivot, but it's a low end play at only 0.1%. And that's Trey Sermon. I think he's going to get some touches this week. And at his salary, I think when they get down to the goal line, he's a bigger back. He may get that goal line touch and may fall into the end zone. So at low ownership, I'll take a couple shots on him. And all right, moving to wide receiver, we have Keenan Allen, the top owned play on the slate at 18.6%, followed by the two Cowboys receivers in Amari and CD. Amari at 17.5% and CD at 16%. So once again, you're seeing that that stack, that Herbert to Keenan Allen connection, the Dak to Amari Cooper, CD Lamb connection being the top kind of stacks and top owned plays on the slate. Mike Williams is actually only down at 10% at 6,100. So I'm going to have, if in my Cowboy stacks, I may, instead of going to the Keenan Allen run back, another high owned receiver, I may go down to the lower ownership and run it back with Mike Williams. I think that's a good pivot. And I already talked about kind of taking a piece of this game and being contrarian at Dalton Schultz or Blake Jarwin, because I think they both have a chance to find the end zone. Moving on to tight end is Noah Fant is the highest owned tight end at 19.8%. His salary is only at $4,200. We know with the Judy injury, everyone's expecting Noah Fant to be the next man up, per se. If it's not going to Cortland Sutton, a lot of people expect Noah Fant to eat, which, yeah, he probably is. But at that high ownership, I am not necessarily going to fade him completely. But once again, I'm going to kind of pivot away from him and go into a little less owned plays. The next two guys are Tyler Higbee and Jarrett Cook. Tyler Higbee at 11.9% and Jarrett Cook at 11.2%. Followed by the George Kittle, Darren Waller, Robert Gronkowski, and then Kyle Pitts, which was my fade of the week last week at 6.1%, which at 5,200, only 6.1%. Now I think it's time to jump on the Kyle Pitts train.
Wait, who are they playing? I'm sorry. They're playing Tampa, right?
Yeah, they're playing Tampa. They're going to have to throw the ball a lot. They're going to be down. They're going to have to lean on that pass game. They're not running Mike Davis at 28 years old into that defensive front. The Cowboys didn't even want to run Zeke into that defensive front. So I do not see them running Mike Davis. I think they're going to have to pass early and often if they want any chance. And so I think at lower ownership, we saw his Kyle Pitts' salary come up a little bit. But at 6.1%, I'm going to take my chances on Kyle Pitts.
And speaking of defenses, for the Steelers, Gladys, your team, Devin Bush and Joe Hayden both are out and won't be active against the Raiders.
Oh.
So this is I can see a scenario where Waller might be your tight end one for this week overall against this defense with both of them out. With Carr having time with no Devin Bush, and then on top of that, Joe Hayden, no Waller to deal with Joe Hayden. That's tough.
What up, little one?
You say hi.
Oh, what's your name?
Yeah. Here. What's your name?
Ava.
Hi, Ava.
Ava. Yeah, she's just getting out of the pool, coming to say hi.
Oh, nice. Cool.
Hey, Eric, you're playing some DFS lineups today, right?
I'm playing a few, yeah, man. I'm not the baller that you and G are, but I got a couple. I actually had a question for you. I think I'm overthinking myself. People are going to judge me for this, but Cordell Patterson, man.
That's a question for you guys.
Cordell Patterson, you said?
Yeah. For some reason, they're going to be down so much. He saw 7 carries last week, 2 targets.
And he looked good. He was
like $3,300 or $3,000 or something like that on DK. I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna see. I built a really good lineup around that. So
I actually talked to one of my friends who, he's a lot better than I am at DFS, if we're being honest. So I always bounce things off him. And he, randomly enough, dude, said that Cordell Patterson could be a guy to watch at his salary, and in this game because he can catch the ball, out of the backfield, and he showed some explosiveness. So, you could probably do worse at 3,300. I don't know that he's breaking the slate by any means, but like you said, if you built a solid lineup around him, then I think you could do worse, than a low end play like that.
Sweet.
What's your start sit question?
This is actually for one of my lineups. This is the only league of all the leagues I'm in that I've never won. I've been in this league 5 years, made the finals twice, back-to-back years, and lost both of them. So I really need help on this one because this is the one league that needs to mean the most to me. Nyheim Hines or Tyson Williams? I am leaning Nyheim Hines right now, but I can literally see both of these guys finishing literally the same this week. But I have Nyheim Hines in. Convince me otherwise or tell me I'm right.
So Ian Rappaport came out. Yeah, Ian Rappaport came out this morning and said Baltimore is going to go with a hot hand situation. Anytime I hear those 2 words or those 3 words, I guess it scares me. I don't really want to play players from that team. Nyheim Hines, like you said earlier, Hamid, like no one else is there to catch the ball.
Yeah,
nobody. So I think I would play Nyheim Hines if it's full. Is it full PPR?
It's full PPR. I am the commissioner league actually too. So.
Yeah, if it's full PPR, I'm going with Nyheim Hines as well. Like Eric said, I mean, we saw while it started off, I was like, man, Tyson Williams, look, he's going to be the man. And then we saw in the second half, Latavius Murray, really get the workload. So with the question marks there, we saw the Colts, their offense wants to run through these backs. So with the injuries, like you were talking about to Paris Campbell, Michael Pittman not really showing out last week, T.Y. Hilton down. Once again, this offense is going to run through those backs, and Nyheim Hines is going to give you that kind of solid floor at PPR, I think, as Hamid disappears.
Oh, Hamid is gone.
He's going to change his lineup right now.
Yeah.
That's what's happening. But I mean, I do think Tyson Williams might have a higher ceiling
Yeah,
than
for
these two
sure.
guys. But the Hines has the floor, so that makes a difference for you, Hamid. Like, depending on, are you an underdog in this game, or are you projected to win pretty, comfortably? Because we were just talking about Nyheim Hines having a higher floor, but Tyson Williams probably having a higher ceiling in that game. What is it, a 54.5 over under or something for the
Mhm.
Baltimore
the
Kansas City
Chiefs are
game?
expected to score quite comfortably against this defense, especially the secondary being as hurt as it is. So I do expect Lamar Jackson having to throw more in this game, which
Right.
should favor Tyson Williams only because he is the best pass catcher in that backfield.
Yeah.
I do expect, it would not shock me if he sees more than 4 targets that he did week 1 this week. But I love me some Nyheim Hines, and that is why I'm going with Nyheim Hines, because I know what I'm getting from Nyheim Hines. I don't know what to expect from Tyson Williams this week.
Yeah, I think
was
Eric's kind of call was perfect as far as, like, if you're projected to win handedly, then go with the safer floor in Hines. But if you kind of need that boom play, then maybe take a chance on Tyson Williams. I think
I'm
he hit it
projected
right
to
on the
win,
nose.
but it's 11-point lead. It's 11-point projection, so it's not too far. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna stick with Nyheim Hines in that case.
Yeah, I like it.
All right. Eric, you are our IDP guy. What defense?
Kind of.
No, you are. You are.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
are
What's me?
now, 'cause
What
she
def-
said so.
Exactly. What defense are you thinking is going to be the sleeper defense for this week?
So actually, I wrote a whole little thing about this. Miami Dolphins, and I wrote it more from a DFS perspective, I guess. They're 2,500 on DraftKings. Josh Allen has been known to make mistakes. Of course, he had a great year last year. Didn't throw a high number of interceptions, but that's in his wheelhouse to kind of fall apart sometimes. Miami Dolphins they take the ball away. They were number 1 in takeaways last season. They've already had 2 takeaways this year. So you could do a lot worse at 2,500. I mean, I don't play leagues with actual DSTs anymore because I am the IDP guy, quote unquote. But I do use the defense in DFS, and I really ID'd Miami as being. I really like them this week.
I think that I read a stat that Pittsburgh last week, even though they had Josh Allen so uncomfortable, only blitzed 2.7%, which is extremely low, whereas Miami last week blitzed 48%. So I expect Josh Allen to be running all over the place, but I think that only bodes well for Cole Beasley. So I like lots of ownership in Cole Beasley. I'm not going to lie.
Pittsburgh can get pressure with 4 too, and Miami really can't. So that's the biggest thing. Hopefully, I'm knocking on wood for Jalen Phillips. I love that kid coming out of the draft.
Right.
Hopefully, he can get rid of he can play through all the concussion stuff that he had in the past. But yeah, Miami's going to have to blitz because they don't really have those guys that can get pressure with 4.
Yeah, I actually think he should stop playing with all the concussion stuff that he had in the past. I mean, that they still let him play is a sad testament to NFL and college ball, actually. Let's Evan.
Mm-hmm.
Let's you give we have 5 minutes. We want everyone to get their lineups in, and we want Hamid to be able to change his lineup if he's going to get the Nyheim Hines. Your parting shots, my friend.
Parting shots. This week, in DFS, the ownerships, like I told you, are really top heavy. Definitely get pieces of that game. Those games. Like I said, the top ownerships are the Cowboys, the Chargers game. Everyone's targeting that game, so you're most likely going to want to get pieces of that game. But try to get different in your stacks. Everyone's going to stack. The Herbert to the Keenan Allen, the Dak Prescott to the Amari Cooper. But just because this is the highest owned game on the slate, you can get different with your stacks to this game. Try to take different pieces and still get exposure to this game, but try to gain leverage that way by getting different pieces of this game rather than going with the field and just taking the obvious stacks.
Let me ask you a quick question then. What are your top 3 games? So it's the Dallas Chargers, Titans, Seahawks, and Chiefs, Ravens?
Yeah, I got you right here. So the top stacks for me are going to be I'm going to be stacking Bucks I'm going to be stacking that Josh Allen to Stephon Diggs. I think a lot of people are sleeping on that stack this week. And then I'm obviously going to get lots of pieces of this Dallas Chargers game. A little kind of less exposure stacks I have are that Seattle Titans game. I think that's a really good kind of contrarian game to get exposure to. And then the Steelers and Arizona.
Really? The Steelers game?
Yeah. Yep. I'm gonna take some shots on Ben. He's low owned. He's cheap. I think he's gonna have a kind of a surprising week this week.
Let's hope so. Hamid, your parting words of wisdom.
My parting words of wisdom. Week 2 is all about when you get to week 2, you start to see what type of lineup you do have in your redraft leagues. And this is where you want to start considering stashes. Not only you want to look ahead to week 3 defenses that are facing easy matchups, but also positional players that are on waivers who you can pick up right now before 1 o'clock and just stash them on your bench to see what happens. Ramondre Stevenson is a good example. He is out this week, which means J.J. Taylor becomes the RB2 behind Damian Harris, who is going to have an opportunity. So maybe that's someone you want to pick up and stash. Amon St. Brown with Tyler Williams not expected to play, another option. Kenneth Gainwell, who's only owned in 25.8% of leagues. So he's available in almost 75% of leagues. Tony Jones owned 18.9% of leagues. These are players you want to pick up now and stash them. You don't want an Elijah Mitchell situation on our hands like we did this past week. So start looking ahead to not only the next week with defenses and kickers, look ahead and try to forecast. And, you have bench spots, 1 or 2 bench spots empty, or you can drop. Go pick those guys up and just wait a couple of weeks and see what happens. Worst case, you drop them for another stash for somebody else. So just start thinking about ahead, because you don't win or lose your weeks in week 1 and 2. You will lose them if you don't play that waiver wire game and start projecting players and looking ahead.
Nice. And Eric?
Words of wisdom. Words of wisdom. I honestly just don't take it too seriously. It's fun. Like, fantasy is awesome. DFS is awesome. Prop bets are great. But at the end of the day, we're all football fans. Please don't at players if they don't perform up to whatever your standard was or the projections and stuff like that. That drives me crazy. But honestly, I'm going to B-Dubs today. Might have a couple drinks, have some wings.
You're going where?
Buffalo Wild Wings. I'm cool, so I call it B-Dubs.
B-Dubs.
But no, I mean, like, honestly, God, that is my prevailing thought throughout all of playing fantasy. Just have fun, take it in stride, and good luck. Hopefully, everything works out for you.
All right, everyone, we appreciate your starting set questions. If you have starting set questions within the next hour, DFS questions, you can always at Evan or Gerson. I'm not sure Gerson will answer you if he's not done with putting his lineups in, but I'm sure he will get to you sooner or later. Evan will definitely answer you. Evan has the projections. He can help you out. If you have questions about stats before your lineups are due in an hour, or questions about injuries, it's not at Hamid, it's at FFJunkie85. He can help you get your stat questions going on. If you have questions about what defense or who you should play, or any redraft questions that don't have to do with defense but with ID players or even offensive players, at Eric before he gets to B-Dubs and has a couple beers, and he will at Fantasy Barbecue. Even if you have questions about steaming food, steaming dead animals, I'm pretty sure he's right there for you on that too. What? Definitely.
I said for sure.
For sure. So we appreciate you joining us. We know that there's a shit ton of start-sit programs on at this time, but we appreciate you joining us. We hope you win, unless we're playing against you. Then we don't hope you win, obviously. Good luck in your DFS. We will see you next Sunday, hopefully. Gentlemen, thank you so much. It has been a pleasure talking to all of you. Absolutely. I will see you next week. Hamid, Thursday, your show's on?
That's correct, Thursday evening. Before I let you go, Anthony Miller is inactive for the Texans.
Who?
Anthony Miller is inactive for the Texans.
For Texans. Never mind. I have the other Anthony Miller. Eric, do you have are you still doing your show with your buds?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, we're doing that Tuesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Arizona time, where I'm at. Yeah, we're just doing like a review of all the games, a little bit of fantasy relevant information if it's in there, but otherwise we're more focusing on like storylines, if you will. So we're having a whole lot of fun with that.
The shows I've seen, it was a lot of fun, but I like fun. Ev, when is your show? Which show?
Yeah, Friday nights. The Friday night cheat sheet with Mike Hicks and Jay. We're kind of focused on 10 kind of stats. We review the game, and really it's about 10 stats we really like, and kind of the cheat of the week per se. It's a really fun show. Last week I got tore up on my freaking Ayuk take, my James Robinson take, but that's the joy of this. That's the joy of this game, man. So hopefully I bounce back with my takes from week 2. Yeah. So tune in Friday nights at 8:30 for the Friday cheat sheet.
And I will see everyone tomorrow for the Monday Night Review with, I don't think Kyle's going to be on, but the doctor will be on. So if you have any injury questions, he will be there. B-League will be there to answer your Giants questions, although you probably are not going to want to hear what he has to say about the Giants. It's not going to be pleasant. And then our resident nurse will be on for a while with us before she has to take her son to his football game. So we will see you tomorrow at 5 o'clock my time, which is Mountain Time. So adjust accordingly. I can't do that because I don't know how. Gentlemen, again, good luck to all of you, except whoever I'm playing in the Dynasty League, because I need to win this week. You guys, be gentle. I lost really badly last week. All right. I will see you guys later. Get your lineups in.
See you